Hi, Virgo rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 23rd of February until the 1st of March. So, welcome, March. But I'm very curious to hear your stories around the eclipse. Did it trigger anything in your natal chart? How you feel this eclipse has been very dramatic, let's just put it that way. I did make a video about it, a 2.5 hour video, breaking it down for all 12 signs as well, for my membership program on my website, but it's also available on YouTube as well, on the YouTube membership, if you want to check it out. But let's get started with how the energy is actually working out for you this week. I mean, firstly, you have got North Node and Sun conjunction in your seventh house, which could really talk to you about a fated partnership. But it happens on Gemini Dwad, so this could even indicate some very important conversations, fated conversations that we have to make. Now, you are ruled by Mercury anyway, so this Sun and North Node conjunction on Gemini Dwad is actually super important for you from a relationship point of view. And maybe you have to be saying things that you have been afraid to say. I think Niobe entering your seventh house also might be indicating that you have been weeping because of a past relationship, while the Sun and North Node conjunction would like you to move on. And I think if there is certain type of kind of like problems in the relationship, this could talk to us about, especially with that Mercury Venus conjunction, this could be a reset moment within that partnership. We could be having important conversations about the future, how we are going to be moving forward. And Mercury and Venus is about togetherness. So if there are some problems, we're going to sit down and let's plan it out together. We do have got Mars in your sixth house squaring Uranus, and that's one of the most dangerous aspects of the week. That might be certain type of sudden work schedule conflict that might be ruining your travel plans, or maybe we are struggling with certain type of medical matters or work situations, and then let's say we are unable to travel. Or you might be having an exam coming up, for example, a work-related exam. But let's talk about that Sun and North Node conjunction a little bit more in depth, because this is somehow a major reset in your long-term partnership. And what's very important here is that you are able to vocalize your needs. Mercury is going retrograde in your seventh house as well. So this is about, maybe I don't understand why the partner says certain type of things, or it's a little bit hard to read them, or they are quieter than usual. And with the Gemini word, I need to be asking clarifying questions. I also can imagine, especially with the Venus and Juno sextile this week, Juno is in your fifth house, that, maybe a contract that might be happening. And the Mercury Venus wants to sit down and then talk about the details of the contract. But it might also indicate that we have to be making a certain type of compromises in our personal partnerships. With that Venus and Juno, maybe a partner who starts showing devotion towards a creative endeavor. Or I can imagine that you are ready to sign a deal for a creative project, and this is about you building your long-term legacy. Or I can imagine that you guys make a promise that we're going to be spending more quality time together, or in a way, we are even able to commit to having a child, and then we might start working on that. So that's also a beautiful aspect. Now we do have got the Ceres and Chiron conjunction happening in your eighth house, and if there are in your eighth house, yes, which might be also talking to us about having to heal the wounds related to intimacy or finances as well. But this is a psychological knot there connected to regarding power, control, vulnerability, and this might be an indication that we need to be brave enough to become vulnerable. Or this is about finding ways of sustaining ourselves financially. We also have got the Mars and Uranus square. I think it's worth talking about that more in detail. And the reason being is because this is actually triggering the eclipse. So, a work routine that might be changing and clashing. Somehow your work schedule can explode and then it can feel like that I cannot travel. For example, I cannot go on holiday. So I'm trying to put all my effort in finishing a certain type of work. Or maybe you are ready to abandon a habit or a diet. Maybe because you find something technological and that sounds just better, or maybe you are just mentally calibrating yourself to be able to start fresh. But also, this could indicate that there is certain type of upgrades happening at work, and then we have to learn this new system, and this new system can become slightly bit chaotic. Well, with Nairobi entering the seventh house, on one hand, this is I want to be proud of my partner. Or even in a way, I would like to have a perfect partner. Or I want to be the perfect partner for my, loved ones in a way. But there is a relationship reality check coming here. And it's about being able to see the flaws in others as well as in ourselves, and then being able to find them beautiful, you know. Especially with that Venus and Juno connection, that's also talking to us about that the soul contract has to be based on reality rather than an idealized image that I've got in my head. We have got Moon out of bound almost the entire week. Now the out of bound starts in the ninth house and then it finishes in the 11th house. So these are certain type of radical breakthroughs in your belief system. Maybe this is a sudden urge to travel or study something. But at the same time, out of bound energy might indicate that I forget to take my passport because we are in a rush. Then that's on the 23rd, 24th. And then on the 25th, 26th, Moon is out of bound in your 10th house. And that could indicate a lot of demand happening at work. And we have to be adaptable, we have to be versatile. It's kind of like trying to juggle between two professional identities simultaneously. Or maybe all of a sudden you've got two job offers coming in, and I have to be making the decision which one I'm going to be choosing. And then maybe that moon finishing its out of bound journey in the 11th house, kind of like a scenario where I sit down with my friends and then they give me a piece of advice, for example, or I'm working on a project that is deeply personal, that is deeply nurturing. So this is pretty much the weekly energy for you. So you can see that there is a huge focus happening in your seventh house. If you are single, this is about attraction. This is about you being able to influence positively, manifesting, for example, a partner into your life. This is about even committing in a way that I want to be visible, for example. There is a lot of like having to change your belief system, having to transform a little bit psychologically rewiring yourself about relationships. With the stronger eighth house, watch out for, being too convicted, being too obsessed towards something. That's a very determined house overall. So that eighth house wants to achieve something, while the seventh house wants to be spending some compassionate time with the partner. And there is a little bit of an inner battle here. However, that very strong seventh house is about, you know what? I want to get support from my partner. I want to give support to my partner. I want a little bit more cuddle time. I want someone, affectionate in my life, or I just want to lay down on the sofa. and then we want to watch telly together, the favorite TV program, or going somewhere nice. So there is that desire, and obviously the Mars Uranus square, for example, might indicate that we get frustrated because of work. I promised that we would go, I don't know, to the park at the weekend, but then work call disrupts everything. So good luck, Virgo, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.